we were just talking about the sharpening setup here. One of the things that we do that Bill has set up, if we are sharpening a knife by machining it, we have this plating set up down here with some graphite belts on it so it doesn't wear out the belts too quickly. Run water directly over it so that we don't change the temper of the steel. And basically what this does is gives us a nice flat surface so we can work a knife just as though we were using an electric sharpening stone. Finishing it off with a deburring. Everything does not need sandpaper belts. Some of these things will be felt belts, which are actually pretty aggressive. Those can remove steel very quickly. Well, that's a, I shouldn't say felt. This is a felt belt here that we will put rouge or buffing compounds on, and these can give us a mere polished edge. So when we are machining knives that are badly misshapen, broken tips and things like that, we're doing it in such a way that we're protecting the integrity of that steel by not overheating. And Bill?
We missed you, Bill. It's been a year.
Hey.
How are you?
Good. How you guys doing?
Good, good.
What did you want to talk about? What's going on?
Well, we want to talk about finish sharpening.
Cool.
Yeah, this is the
blue steel.
This is Chef Hiro's knife. He wants to put a
piece.
finishing edge on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Traditionally, Japanese knives not fully finished. The knife sharpening is supposed to be a very, very personal thing for the chef. So most people, I imagine, that are ordering these knives will not request this. However, it's something that really should be done in order to get those really clean cuts, preserving the condition of the produce. When we're doing the finish sharpening, first you're going to want to protect the handle. We have some of this bandage material. Works really good. Resists water, protects the ferrule of the bolster down here.
This is a service that you offer here at Knife Enrichment, which is great.
Yes.
Finishing the edges.
Yes. If you are not a professional or master sushi chef, you might want to request this service.
A master knifelman right here.
Yeah. Anyhow, it usually doesn't take a whole lot of work. At the edge of the knife, what a lot of people miss is that there's an extremely small micro bevel. It's so small. It's for many different reasons. However, best if you sharpen it out.
Okay.
So, anyhow, additionally, blue steel is extremely wear resistant. It's very, very tough steel. Probably have quite the time sharpening it out if you're not really adept at this sort of thing, which is okay. Removing that small micro bevel will give you so much more slicing aggression. It's going to work out of the box, but if you want to be at the pro level, you got to remove that little extra bevel.
Yeah, it's another level. More, literally. And so quiet. You can hear much.
Yes. Sometimes, I mean, it depends. Condition of the knife out of the box. These come out of the box really, really nice, so it doesn't require a whole lot of work. Starting at 3,000 is fine. This is the Hiro 3000. It's one of my faves all around.
I saw you pulling out of soaking water.
Oh yeah.
And they're good, right?
Right, yeah, I remember last time.
You remember the last time we bought ours, David?
Oh, that was great.
It's been soaking in water since the time we bought it from you last time.
Oh yeah?
That was how many years ago?
Almost, it was just a year.
No, more than that.
Really?
Yeah. At least 2 years or more.
Oh, yeah, the first one.
Yeah, the first order.
Oh, I got you, yeah. Left it soaking non-stop, huh?
Oh, yeah, exactly how it's done.
All of these stones, they sit in water 5 days a week, and they get to breathe on the weekends, and then they go right back in, and they're fine.
Okay.
They are just
Let
fine.
them take them out for a breathe.
Yeah.
Grab some air.
Yeah. Stones need to breathe too.
relatively easy process, but not necessarily a fast one.
No. If your intent is to sharpen a knife really quickly, chances are you're not going to do it properly. Take the time, set everything up right, relax. You try to rush it.
How long does the process take to do?
It depends on how far you want to go with it. I mean, just taking off the bevel right out of the box is, you know, just like a 15-20 minute job.
Okay.
It also helps having the right sets of stones too.
What stone is this one here?
Kikuichi 6000.
Okay.
Clean water. You can use a little slurry stone. You can use any kind of stone, really. Sometimes it helps to get it started.
And this one right here is a particularly new stone.
Norden
also.
4000.
I actually like the stone better after it's been used a little.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah, a lot of times they put like some sort of finish on the stone. So I'm gonna take it off.
And will this grid will be the highest number you go to, or are you going to go even higher?
No, we can go higher. Use the Norden 8000. Yeah, like I was saying though, if you try to rush it, try to press really hard, and you don't take even strokes, you're gonna end up wearing out your stone in a weird way, and you probably won't damage the knife, but it's just not gonna come out right. You don't need to do a whole lot of work on the back out of the box. Do some really light finishing strokes. You want to preserve the overall shape of the knife. In time, it will wear away. And you can see we've taken up the edge just a little bit, removed the very steep factory edge bevel.
Yeah, I see that. Okay.
And strop it just a little bit. It's mostly just cleaning, really.
You seen the comments people leave for you on our channel, on the video?
I got a chance to read some of them. Back when you guys had first posted the video, it's been a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate all the positive feedback, and we're always here to help and answer questions. I had a lot of people call in. I was talking with them, and believe me, I was listening. In fact, I took their advice. One guy out there might recognize this handle. He was making strops too, and I really liked his idea of just attaching a handle. It's quite simple, effective.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the strops that I'm making and selling here.
Okay.
And although a lot of people do, they get Yeah, in fact, someone else had mentioned this flex cut. This, when I'm using compound in a strop, this is a very excellent stropping compound specifically for stropping.
Great.
However, the unique protein structure of leather will actually abrade and polish steel ever so subtly. Yeah, that's going to be really sharp. You can just cut hairs just touching them. There you are, Chef. I'm sure sure we didn't need to do that for Chef, but you know.
Nice to have your personal touch on that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Now we don't want to use this knife, right, Hiro? Don't use this knife. Keep it.
Yeah, put that on the mantle, right?
I'm excited for you. I wish I had a set of skills. Not so much. I'm always worried about cutting a finger or something, you know?
It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't be afraid of that. It's going to happen. You just get it out of the way.
Yeah, just understand it and that's it. Well, thank you so much. Thank you again, Bill.
You're welcome. Don't
See you
forget to
soon.
flatten your stones and clean them. Last time, I think I had talked about it, but I just wanted to talk about it a little bit more. And especially now that I have my really cool dry erase board, I can show you guys what I'm talking about. The problems that I see a lot of times when people bring me their knives. And so if I can share this with you, you guys can participate at home, do your own sharpening, do your own cooking. We always encourage that. What I talked about before is the recurve. It's just a term that I use. It's when you have a European style knife and the bolster sticks out further. This can happen from just regular usage. This can happen from aggressive honing. And when you sharpen, you want to remove that. You can use any number of stones. This is just a very basic small oil stone. You might not want to do this to your expensive water stones. So you can just put this edge down and take part of this off. And it seems counterintuitive. But I assure you, if it's there, your knife is not going to touch the cutting or flat. So, yeah, I covered that last time. But
Okay.
the other thing that I see a lot is when people are sharpening their knives, they're not contacting the apex, the very, very, very edge of the knife. Now, if you can see here, you know, someone's been sharpening on this guy, and I don't think they reach the very edge. You can take a marker and you can color the edge of the knife. Probably something better than a dry erase board marker, but you get the idea of what I'm talking about. So this can actually show you where you're sharpening.
Interesting.
What happens is people, they sharpen, and they're sharpening this area right here, but they're not actually touching the very, very edge of the knife. You want the two sides to come together flush. And you don't want any sort of rollover. You don't want to be sharpening too high on the knife up here. You want to make sure that you're contacting the very edge. That's really important. When it comes to sushi knives too, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of sushi chefs out there that sharpen their knives right, but there are some that are not. Like we were talking about earlier, this is a better way to show you more clearly what we were talking about. Is when a sushi knife comes out of the box, there's an additional bevel right here for strength, for whatever reason. And what you want to do is you want to remove that. And so you have a nice smooth taper that comes all the way to the very edge. Comes to a nice smooth point. By the way, yeah, this is a cross section of what a sushi knife looks like. Sometimes there's no flatness to the back, like this. It's almost like an ice cream scoop. And in that case, they'll put a very steep bevel on it. Again, you just want to make sure that you remove that. And if you look at it, it almost looks like an ice cream scoop. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So, all these aspects of the knife, they do have purpose. But, in the end, to get the most slicing aggression, you want to have a nice smooth progression from the shinogi line up here at the very top of the bevel all the way to the apex. This will make the knife very fragile, but that will give you the most slicing aggression. These knives are meant for slicing, not for chopping. And so if you're using it for purposes other than that, you don't want to do that. You'll probably have to end up going to a professional knife sharpener. Also, a lot of times when I see old knives brought to me, it's their, it's their oldest knife. What can happen is if you sharpen too aggressively on the backside, this is a top-down view of a knife, you'll get a recurve on the backside, on this side right here, along the distance of the knife. And so this center part won't actually be contacting the stone. You'll be sharpening this area, along here, but you'll start to get recurve in this area because you're over aggressively sharpening the back side of the knife. It's kind of hard to explain, but I'm hoping that was pretty clear. A lot of times also, when I see knives, they brought into me, the heel sticks out further than the rest, which is okay for a slicing knife that's not cutting, contacting cutting board. But when you're sharpening, just remember to sharpen all parts evenly. Make sure you sharpen the tip, the very tip. Sometimes people, they get a flat spot right in here because the tip is sticking out further in relation to the rest of the knife. So make sure you sharpen the tip, make sure that you sharpen the heel, that you're sharpening them all evenly. Also, we get a lot of questions about what angle to sharpen the knife at.
My next question, yep.
In my opinion, it's not so critical to get the exact angle. It's to understand why you sharpen at that angle. This is my cool drawing for all you skaters out there. This is a skateboard ramp. Believe it or not, skateboarding is kind of like sharpening. If you have a knife that is very, very thin, it's like a thin skateboard ramp. This is a wedge. A knife is a wedge. It's a simple machine. It creates leverage. And so, just like if you had a really shallow, short skateboard ramp, it's easy to skate up that. If you have a very steep one, like this knife shape right here, it's going to be much, much harder for you to get to the top of that ramp. So what's happening is these wider knives, it's exerting force against whatever you're trying to cut through, You're cutting fish, tomato, whatever. So the objective to get a knife thinner is to give it slicing aggression. It will create less force against whatever you're cutting. However, if you get it too thin, we get a lot of requests for just very, very acute edge angles that aren't good for a Gyuto, chef's knife, things like that. And
why are they asking for that angle?
That's the question I ask, is why are you trying to get the knife that thin? And yes, it will create more slicing aggression. However, it will make the blade more fragile, and that's unavoidable. So you have to find the right balance. You really have to sharpen for a purpose. You have to think about what each knife is used for, how the person will be using it. Steel composition is a factor, yes, but you have to just think about these things in a practical manner. Don't go too overboard with your thinning of your knives. Mm-hmm. And also, especially with Japanese traditional knives, you want to maintain them regularly, because if they get out of their shape, out of true, then it'll take a lot more work to get them back, like those guys. So make sure you're sharpening on a regular basis.
Okay.
When you buy a knife, buy a stone with it. It's going to happen. No knife stays sharp forever.
How many stones should people buy? Because I know we get asked that question as well.
I mean, in Japan, man, everyone's got like 3 stones. They sell stones at the grocery store. It's ingrained in their culture. I'm saying you guys got to have at least 1 stone, but ideally you'd want to have 3. You'd want to have coarse, medium, and fine.
Okay, 1 stone. What grit number? If you could choose 1 stone.
1,000.
1,000? Okay.
Yeah.
And do they need that sharpening rod, that steel? Is it necessary?
Yes. About sharpening rods versus honing steels. Now, a ceramic rod, a diamond rod, for me, I would classify as a sharpening implement. It would not be for honing. These are meant to only work the very apex of the knife, the very edge of the knife. the likelihood that you're actually making flush contact with the side of the knife or the actual edge bevel is very, very slim. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm saying it's pretty slim. Usually, we get recurve when you use a ceramic sharpening rod or diamond opening rod, sharpening rod. This is what happens. You get the recurve in it. So, I would always suggest a honing steel to work the apex of the knife, the very, 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 very edge of the knife, and you want to use it lightly. That's why sharpening stones are so much better in general, because you're sharpening a larger surface area. If you're only sharpening one point along the knife at one time, and especially if you are changing the angle, you're going to have more leverage when you get to this point right here or right here. So I'm not saying don't use them. I'm saying use them sparingly, use them carefully. Try to cover as much surface area as you can as you're doing it. You know, don't do, you know, something like this. I understand that there's people out there that are good at it. I wouldn't try it for your first time.
I've seen people take two knives and sharpen against each other too.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of stuff. Yeah, I mean,
I cringe when I see that.
Sound. I mean, I get it. It's two pieces of blade steel, and you know they're grinding against each other. I would be really careful doing that. It's best to shell out a few bucks. I mean, F-Dick makes some standard sharpening rods or honing steels that are very inexpensive. This one is not, but it's really good. Also, yeah, as far as apex work, this is apex work. This is not sharpening. Strops, really cool for just truing up the very, very edge of the knife, not for sharpening, but really cool to get an extremely fine edge. It's also good for polishing, as you saw earlier, the face of Japanese knives, especially if they're high carbon knives. It'll help remove the rust. Another little trick that I like that I should have shared earlier, if you have a traditional Japanese style knife and you want to, I believe it's called Kasumi finish, where you have the deep scratches on the soft steel and the blade steel at the very edge is really shiny. A sponge is actually really good. I think I had showed you guys before, but you know, you can polish the sides of the knife just as simply as this. That's also really good for removing scratches on the side. I remember last time when I had the other table, I have my cool little multi-directional vise there. You can just put this on a table and use a sponge to get rid of the weird scratch patterns.
Right.
When you're using the coarse stones, which you will probably at some point. Yeah, I'm not saying that it's for everyone, but flattening stones, this is an extremely coarse grit. You can actually purchase, it's in here somewhere, a really coarse stone, 120, 240. Trust me, if you sharpen on a regular basis, if you're really, really good at sharpening, chances are you probably have this. This is part of that 3-stone collection. If you get one of these, you don't have to get one of these because you can use this to flatten the other stones. So, like I said, having those 3 stones, the coarse, medium, fine, is quite important, very useful, and saves you a lot of time if you're sharpening on a regular basis. If you're not that, you can send it to a professional knife sharpener. Yeah, that's cool. But yeah, I hope that this information helps people out. I always encourage people to do their own sharpening. Always encourage people to do their own cooking. So thanks for letting me share with you guys.
Oh, please, our pleasure.
And yeah.
And if all else fails, this is Bill.
Yeah.
Send it to Bill.
Last resort.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Always a pleasure hearing from you and seeing these demos.
Yeah, come back again. Maybe one of these days we're going to have to visit you guys.
Yes.
Hopefully sooner rather than later.
Exactly. We'll see you soon, Bill. Thank you.
Ya.